was really into this disclosure. Oh, this major disclosure is going to hit about UFOs, and it's going to blow the lid off of it, and everybody's going to know it's real. Okay, and it was about documents and all this stuff, and it was, everybody was going crazy. They were writing books about disclosure, about UFOs like mad 6-7 months ago. And I voiced my opinion. I said, look, that's not what's going to come down. It's not what you're talking about, because I've heard this so much since 1976 when I first started doing talk radio. Disclosure is right around the corner. It's right around the corner, Tom. It's going to be out any day. Well, it hasn't happened. But the biggest disclosure we had, and nobody's really talking much about it, is when the Navy came out and said, these are real. These are UFOs, and we don't know what they are and where they come from. That has been the best disclosure I've heard in my whole career in broadcasting. And when I had Bruce Maccabee on, even on my show here last week, we were talking about like these UFOs, and he said, quote unquote, he doesn't think they were back engineered because we don't have the technology to back engineer these UFOs. We don't. That's like if you go back and let's say you go back in 1940 and you hand the top scientist your cell phone. Are they going to duplicate a cell phone and make an IC chips that are the size of, size of pinheads? Well, they would look at that and they wouldn't even know where to start. That's what he was basically.
Think about this for just a moment, Gary. That those entities that are in that base in under North Carolina and elsewhere, if they made a deal to swap technology for cordon bleu,
I call it barbecues.
Okay, for cordon bleu barbecue, who's to say that we don't have that technology? I mean, if someone, there are people that will literally sell their souls to get, at the top of the temporal heap. And anyone that doesn't think that that's true, you better take a look around because they're all over the place.
Yeah, they'll sell your soul too if they can.
To say that people would not swap, human beings for technology, I've met people like that have no souls, and they would do it in a New York second.
Yeah, that's the scary part. So, yeah, from that standpoint, I believe maybe we might have some technology like that. But what Bruce said too, he being a scientist and all this stuff, and Bruce Maccabee is very known in the UFO community. He's like one of the godfathers. And I don't know, James, if you remember what he said, but he said that these UFOs, the turns that they're making, even like the ones off the 2017 or the 2004 from the Nimitz, right? They would pull he figured it was pulling 550 Gs on these turns. Yeah. That would more than liquefy any human being.
Right. Yep. So many G's that you would be toast. So it's not humanly possible.
No, you wouldn't be toast.
Unless
you'd be
there's
water on the wall.
That nullifies the G-force. Otherwise, you're going to be like a pancake. You're going to be liquid.
So that's the part that scares me. So I do think that some of these UFOs are not the friendly ones, and maybe there are some of them that are ours. I have no idea at this point, but I do believe something is going on, and that's
based on what you're saying, and you're absolutely spot on. We do have a song that's going to be coming out in the coming months, and it's called Agendas, and it's about exactly what you're talking about. And of course, you're going to get a copy of it as soon as it gets released.
Great, that'd be cool. So I take it you kind of feel the same way I'm preaching here.
Oh yeah, I mean, like I said, there are those malevolent forces that are out there, and I think that they outnumber the positive ones. I don't think they're all malevolent, Gary, but I think that it's like a 2-to-1 ratio. And unfortunately, they outnumber the good guys. And so when you're talking about bad things happening, I think that we're outnumbered down here.
Which is scary for the little person, isn't it? But, again, people are naive. You know what? I've known people. You sit there and you preach to them like, hey, if you live this way and you do this stuff, okay, something bad's going to happen. And they just brush you off, right? And then all of a sudden, everything you told that individual, it happens. Then they freak out. They're like crazy because they don't know what to do. And you sat there and warned them ahead of time. And that's the problem with society. Again, Ronald Reagan, a conversation I had with him, Star Wars. Is it to protect us against the Soviet Union? His answer was no, it's to protect us for them out there. Now,
well,
take it any way you want.
That's another thing that intel officer told me, and he said that we do have a system that's out there, and guess where all the warheads are pointed? They're not pointed down here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I heard about some of them.
I'm only repeating what I was told.
Yeah. Well, it makes sense, but you know what? Who am I? I'm just a talk show host, and that's what I try to do on my show. Is I try to bring the best people in that that can talk about UFOs and aliens.
Well, I'm
and
just
abductions.
a hippie musician with a shaved head, Gary. So what do I know?
Well, you got a shaved head. You know what? My hair is like. My wife said this weekend you're going to get a haircut. I made a bet with my wife a year and a half ago. Because I always had either short hair or like no hair when I went through one treatment, and I was bald for a long time. And then, my wife dared me to grow my hair long, and I said I'll go a year without cutting my hair. And then she started getting upset, and then all of a sudden I had my accident where I couldn't walk for a while. I still now managing to walk 20 feet with a walker and making progress, but I haven't been able to go to the barber. So I got long hair. But you know what? Hey, I'm a long-haired weirdo. What can I say?
Well, I'll put it this way: from one weirdo to another, you and I are going to have to go out and have lunch one of these days.
Well, make it when I can walk a couple hundred feet with my walker.
That'll work.
Yeah.
I think we have enough time, hopefully, knock on wood, to do that.
I do. I'm just kind of worried what's going to happen in the next couple of months. This whole thing about disclosure on the internet is like dried up. Some of these people who were preaching disclosure big time now kind of like have egg on their face, and they kind of like disappeared for a while. I don't know. All I can say is that it's going to be a cycle. Right now, the hottest thing out there is what's going on with our economy, politically, UFOs and aliens and abductions. If you listen to my show, I get a lot of people that have been abducted. It's been on my show, or they claim they were abducted, I should say. Well,
Gary, you are really performing a huge public service because you're, like I said, you are performing an expose on those realities, plural, which surround us. You're doing a great job. You're doing a huge public service. If people get upset at that, like I said, they better hearken back to the First Amendment. I think that you are the guy, and people like you that are going to get to those people who are really want to know the truth, and they want to have their minds opened up to other horizons because they realize that what they have right now ain't it. So you're really doing a huge service, and keep doing what you're doing.
Well, I must be doing something right because I got a big following with truck drivers, and I tell you, that's been a big accomplishment. It's not a day I don't get pages of emails from
They're
truckers.
American heroes. They're American heroes. No pharmaceuticals, no food, no water, just think of all the things that they deliver. And without them, we'd be in a world of hurt.
Oh, yeah. And then sometimes
I remember when diesel prices were going over $5 a gallon, and I talked to one of the drivers, and he said, "Yeah, Tom, it's costing me $1 a mile."
Oh, yeah. I remember that, too, those days, too. I can honestly tell you, I used to know a couple of people that used to deliver gas to gas stations. And they also told me, when we had our gas shortage.
Yeah.
Yeah, they said they were pumping gas in every empty gas station they could think of, to store fuel because they had so much fuel.
Well, that's true. I worked for Standard Oil when they did the first one, and they blamed it on the Arabs. Remember when fuel prices went from 33.9 up to like $1 plus in a matter of months, and then all of a sudden when they got up there, gosh, we had all this fuel. Imagine that.
Oh yeah, strange, huh? Yeah, they got the price where they wanted it. Anyway,
yeah. Well, I'm laughing about it, but it's really not funny when you think. I hate to say this as a former police officer, but there are two main forces that run this planet. One are criminals, and the other are multinational corporations. So,
yeah, it's yeah. I don't know. Does anybody in the police department get really upset about cold cases? Because, and the reason why I'm saying cold cases, I'm not talking about murders, people disappearing. Like, I read the statistics for, with the FBI, how many people each year are disappearing. And then you had the author of the 411 missing in the national forest, what he claims.
Yeah.
This is a lot of people. I'm not talking about in Canada or the worldwide. In the United States, that they have no trace of where they went. Some mother gets in her car and vanishes.
Yeah, what is it? Something like it's over 1,000 every year that go missing, and they have no idea what happened to them. I take that back. There are, I think, people that know what happened to them, but they're not talking.
Yeah, what I saw statistic-wise, it was like 30-some thousand people worldwide are missing a year. I'm not talking.
That's a lot of folks.
I'm not talking about dying in wars. I'm not talking about
right.
Just disappearing, no trace. They're just gone. That is the scary part.
Very. And I guess we can harken back to our friends that are in that alien base in under North Carolina and other places.
Yeah,
they have that book, To Serve Man.
Yeah, I remember that Twilight Zone when at the very end, the scientist, it was trying to break the code of the book. He gets selected to go on that ride to the planet, right? And then he's on.
Kirby, don't get on that.
Yeah,
it's a good book.
Yeah. Hey, it's a possibility. I mean, it's no more different than right hunters going out and shooting deer, or how we process cattle or whatever. We supposedly do it humanely. Maybe they do the same thing with humans. They abduct them and that's the end of it. They're not returned. It's scary. I mean, again, if I abducted somebody, and if you were still in the police department and you were assigned to that department, you would be, you'd be looking for me to put me away forever. These abductions are so common nowadays.
I think about the fact that, you had that experience up in the Canadian Rockies, and I guess the thing that I hearken back to is the fact that, number one, not all Sasquatch are the same, just like not all human beings are the same. And number two, what if those things are carnivores?
I think they are, because, again, part of my family is with the Muckleshoot Indian tribe. I know, Tom, you know who they are. And I sat back about a year ago and talked to the medicine woman for the tribe, and she told me about all these stories about Bigfoot going back in the, turn of the century. And everything she said, that they weren't friendly creatures. They were, they would come in and raid the tribe, and, the squaws would be down at the river washing the clothes, and they would run off with the babies or the squaws, and then the warriors would go out looking for their...
That's funny you should tell me that, because I had a Navajo whose dad was a shaman tell me the same thing, that they had back in the days where they were giving the oral tradition. They had stories of those creatures coming in and snatching little kids and babies.
And eating them.
Yeah, not good.
Hey, everybody, our show is over with. Tom, again, I just want to say I love your music that you and your band does, and I'll continue promoting it as much as I humanly can on our show and on the website. You can check out his music, where to get it at www.nightdreamstalkradio.com. It's Metatron Power and Light. And I'll tell you, my favorite song so far is Disclosure. Guys, it's been really good talking to you. Tom, I want you to stay out of trouble, and maybe one of these days we can go out for a sandwich.
I'd love to. And anytime that we get a new single out, you're going to be the first one to